Welcome to NewsBeacon, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. The world of technology thrives on global connections, data, ideas, and innovation flowing freely. But now, a new kind of wall is rising, not of stone, but of rules and restrictions. The United States, aiming to slow China's tech progress, limited the export of advanced semiconductor chips. This was a seismic shift, targeting the heart of China's ambitions in AI and military tech. The global supply chain, built on decades of collaboration, was suddenly disrupted. Tensions between the US and China had been simmering, but this move made the rivalry explicit. Advanced chips are the foundation of modern technology, and by controlling them, the US sought to maintain its edge. The restrictions focused on the most powerful chips and the equipment to make them. For China, this exposed a critical vulnerability: dependence on foreign technology. Chinese tech giants like Huawei and countless startups faced a stark new reality. The era of easy collaboration was ending. Companies worldwide had to pick sides and navigate a maze of new rules. The old model, design in one country, manufacture in another, assemble in a third, was upended. The decision forced a global reckoning: adapt or fall behind. The world's tech industry entered a new era of competition and uncertainty. The wall was not just a barrier, but a challenge to innovate or be left behind. The US hoped to secure its leadership. China was forced to respond. The ripple effects would reshape technology for everyone, everywhere. The stakes had never been higher. The future of global tech was suddenly up for grabs. The chip war had begun. Semiconductors, chips, are the tiny brains inside every electronic device. Made from silicon, billions of transistors are etched onto a sliver of material, controlling electricity and enabling computation. Chips power everything: smartphones, cars, medical equipment, and even national security systems. They are the engine of the digital economy and the backbone of modern life. The more transistors on a chip, the more powerful it becomes. Manufacturing chips is one of the world's most complex engineering feats, requiring billion-dollar factories and extreme precision. Only a handful of countries and companies dominate: the US in design, Taiwan in manufacturing, the Netherlands in equipment. China, until recently, was mostly an assembler and consumer, not a leader. The US restrictions targeted this dependency, pushing China to rethink its role. The race to make the best chips is fierce, and the outcome will shape the future. Chips are not just components, they are the currency of power. Whoever controls chip technology controls tomorrow. The global chip story is now a story of rivalry and reinvention. The stakes are nothing less than the future of innovation. China didn't retreat in the face of US restrictions, it doubled down. The government launched a national mission to achieve chip self-sufficiency. Billions of dollars poured into research, factories, and talent. The goal, not just to make basic chips, but to catch up with the world's best. This was a whole nation effort. Government, companies, and universities all mobilized. Tax breaks, investment funds, and new university programs fueled the push. The message was clear: building a domestic chip industry is a top priority. National pride and urgency drove the mission, inspiring scientists and engineers. The story became one of resilience, overcoming barriers through ingenuity. China aimed to transform from technology user to technology creator. The Great Chip Leap Forward was underway, reshaping the nation's identity. The challenge was immense, but the commitment was total. The world watched as China raced to close the gap. The outcome would redefine global technology leadership. The stakes: economic power, security, and national pride. The marathon had just begun. China's chip drive needed champions, companies, and people to make it real. SMIC, the nation's top chip maker, became the standard bearer, racing to catch up with global leaders. Huawei, hit hard by US restrictions, pivoted to designing its own chips and exploring new manufacturing methods. A wave of startups sprang up, each tackling a piece of the chip puzzle, from design software to new materials. The government fueled this ecosystem with massive investment funds, picking promising winners and protecting the domestic market. Universities expanded microelectronics programs, training a new generation of engineers and scientists. Top talent was recruited from abroad, and major research projects were launched. The goal: a self-sustaining pipeline of innovation and expertise. Not every company would succeed, but the hope was that a few would become world-class leaders. Collaboration was orchestrated at every level: industry, academia, and government. The result: a vibrant if chaotic national effort to build a world-class chip industry. China's chip game was about more than factories. It was about building a new technological future. The stakes were high and the whole nation was in the race. The outcome would shape China's place in the world. The US and China now pursue technology leadership with starkly different strategies. The US relies on private sector innovation. Companies like Intel and Apple thrive in a competitive, decentralized market. Government supports basic research and creates incentives but doesn't dictate what companies build. The CHIPS Act offers subsidies to boost domestic manufacturing, aiming for resilience, not control. China's approach is top-down. The government sets goals, directs investment, and orchestrates collaboration. It's a high-risk, high-reward strategy, massive resources but potential for inefficiency and waste. The US bets on market forces and entrepreneurial risk-taking. China bets on national mobilization and long-term planning. Both models have strengths and weaknesses. The chip industry is the ultimate test. Can China's state-driven push catch up with America's innovation engine? The world is watching to see which path wins in the 21st century. The outcome will shape not just technology but global power. The stakes: economic dominance, security, and the future of innovation. The race is on, and the finish line is uncertain. Two visions, one prized technological supremacy. The next decade will reveal which strategy prevails. The world's future may depend on it. The chip war is a battle of ideas as much as hardware. The US-China chip war isn't just about two countries, it's reshaping the entire world. Allies like Japan and Europe face pressure to pick sides, risking trade with China or alignment with the US. Developing nations must choose between rival tech ecosystems, threatening the dream of a single global internet. The result: a fractured tech landscape with higher costs and slower progress for all. Some countries like India and Vietnam see opportunity, vying to become new manufacturing hubs as companies diversify supply chains. Building a high-tech industry is tough, requiring skilled workers and stable infrastructure. Not every nation will succeed, but the global supply chain is becoming more distributed. Companies now pursue a China plus one strategy, hedging against risk. The chip war's ripples are global, forcing everyone to rethink their tech future. The world's digital map is being redrawn. China's quest for chip self-sufficiency faces daunting obstacles. The biggest access to advanced manufacturing equipment, especially EUV lithography, made only by ASML in the Netherlands. US pressure blocks China from buying these machines, limiting it to older chip technologies. Developing a domestic alternative is a monumental, years-long challenge. Meanwhile, the world keeps moving forward. China risks falling further behind. Talent is another hurdle. Building a chip industry needs thousands of skilled engineers and decades of know-how. China is racing to train and recruit, but expertise can't be rushed. The final challenge? Building a complete ecosystem of suppliers, materials, and software. The US, Taiwan, and others spent decades building theirs. China must do it in record time. Progress is real, but vulnerabilities remain. The climb is steep, and the summit is still distant. The future could split into two tech spheres, one led by the US, one by China. Each would have its own standards, supply chains, and even internet, forcing countries and companies to choose sides. This decoupling could slow innovation and raise tensions, making the world less efficient and more fragmented. But there's another possibility: a new balance with two strong tech poles and some continued interaction. Competition could drive breakthroughs in AI, quantum computing, and more, benefiting everyone. A more diverse tech industry might be more resilient to shocks. The outcome depends on choices made now: escalate rivalry or find ways to cooperate. Other countries could act as bridges, not just bystanders. The world stands at a crossroads. The decisions of today's leaders will shape tomorrow's tech landscape. Will we see division or a new complex balance of power? The answer is still unwritten. The next chapter is ours to decide. The next decade will be defined by this great power tech rivalry. China will keep investing, aiming for self-sufficiency in less advanced chips, and pushing for breakthroughs in cutting-edge tech. The US and its allies will focus on securing supply chains and maintaining their lead, using tools like the CHIPS Act and export controls. The global industry must adapt. The era of hyper-globalization is over. Companies will build more resilient regional supply chains, likely raising costs for everyone. Innovation may splinter, with different regions taking different paths. The chip war is about more than technology. It's about the future of power and progress. Semiconductors are the foundation of the modern world. The outcome will shape economies, militaries, and cultures for decades. The US and China have set the stage for a long, unpredictable struggle. The world's technological future hangs in the balance. The age of silicon is entering its most competitive chapter. What comes next will define us all.